Okay, we are connected.
Okay. Okay, so yeah, let's start. So hello everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, based on wherever you're located. Today, I'm very, very happy and very excited actually to welcome back our friend and guest, Pratik Desai. He needs, I guess, like he's on the path where he needs really no introduction, and we've introduced him so many times. Yet once again, Pratik is a very accomplished businessman who lives in the commercial capital of India, the city of Mumbai. He has had an illustrious academic career that dates back to a few years, where he graduated as a student from the prestigious University of Florida with a degree in aerospace engineering. Pratik is an intellectual spiritualist who has spent more than a decade now, maybe a dozen years, practicing and teaching people to live a life that's centered on the principles enunciated in the famous legendary books of spiritual knowledge, the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam. And he has done this through the medium of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. Pratik has recently launched a blockbuster book. I have to say that because it has really made waves. The name of the book is 20 plus must know facts about Hinduism. It is a book that covers some of the most commonly asked facts, frequently asked questions about Hinduism from various perspectives. Some of the questions are like as common as, like, why do we have, why does Hinduism talk about, like, so many different gods, but yet there is only one supreme God, and that is Krishna. Why is Krishna the supreme? Another interesting question, which I feel like everyone is going to benefit from, is why does bad things happen to good people? If I have never harmed anyone, then why do I suffer? And many other questions. These questions address the very, very core of our quest for knowledge about who we are, why are we here, and what is religion, what is that path that is really Hinduism, that's like termed Hinduism. So without saying much about the book myself, I would like to ask Pratik to take it away. So Pratik, once again, welcome to our session, and congratulations on this breathtaking, amazing book that you have written, and that's like very, very well received in the community. And I would like to hand it over to you if you would like to start with a few words before actually I ask you the questions that I'm burning to ask. So over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Aritra, for the generous introduction, although I don't deserve so many things that you stated. And I would like to sincerely thank my teachers who have taught me so many things, and I've just presented the facts according to their explanation and according to my limited capacity understanding. And I would also like to thank all my friends, my relatives, everyone who has supported me for this wonderful journey. And being the first book for me, like just about to start my career as an author. So it has been overwhelming because many people, they have approached me and they have told me that it's a fantastic concept, especially addressing so many questions Hindu people they have about their own religion, which is quite surprising. Uh, yeah, so the very fact that I'm writing a book and I'm answering questions, it means that a lot of Hindus, they are not aware of so many things. And it is just meant to help them in their own understanding of their journey towards spiritual life. So I hope that this book can be it can be an asset for them to cultivate their spiritual lives and go deep into their own spirituality, become more introspective in nature, and at the same time be very blissful and happy, so that they will uh, clearly understand and realize that true happiness lies within, and that happiness actually is very clearly defined and described in our scriptures, provided that we can somehow gather the conclusion of the scriptures. So yeah.
I like the last part the most, because that is one thing that is uh, like the most the common what I would say like is like the most common denominator, the highest common denominator among everyone. People are looking to have a good time. Let's put it this way: people are looking for happiness, and that happiness, seeing the world around us, doesn't seem to really come to us. And it would be really, really enlightening to understand what the Vedic scriptures, I'm using the term Vedic scriptures because that's what forms the basis of our of the Hindu philosophy, so to speak. And it will be really interesting and enlightening to know how that happiness could be found. And that happiness is obviously not in things. It's something, it's that's like within us, embedded within us. So yeah, it'll be really interesting for everyone, and enlightening to read about it. So yeah, so thank you very much for the book. It's a big addition. So to begin with, I have this question to you, that the book itself, would you like to show us how the book looks, just so that uh, whoever is
Yeah.
watching the podcast can immediately identify.
Yeah, yeah. So
Or
what
if
I
you
can
want,
do
if
is
it's fine, if you want to do it later too, that's fine too.
I can
Up to
share
you.
the screen and I will show some the cover pages, and I can also show the book itself.
Awesome.
So yeah. So I'm okay. Once again, we have to open it.
If you were showing me a physical copy
No,
of
no.
the.
Now I will be able to share it because I had to open it basically.
Okay. Yeah, we see your screen. There you go. So 20 plus
Yeah.
must know facts about Hinduism.
So I am zooming in to some of the questions that are in the
Awesome.
book.
Yeah, those questions look like mile markers,
Right.
and
Yeah.
there is a destination, there is a goal that's like way down, and the person is probably like that representative of each one of us, looking for what is the end destination. And your questions, the questions you have are showing there are like mile markers. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Okay, so this is the front cover page, and I'm sharing now the back cover, which has got reviews by many of them. Uh,
Oh, that is a lot of reviews. That is a lot of reviews. And let's see who are the people who have reviewed your book. Oh, I can see Rishikesh Mafatlal. So yeah, definitely a luminary businessman, and of course Dr. Vivek Vindra, the Dr. Vivek Vindra. So yeah, an eye opener and an inner call for people from all walks of life. I'm extremely glad the author wrote such a book. I wish him all success in inspiring the readers to practice spirituality without any qualms. A must read. Yes, it is a must read.
Yeah, so these are some of the reviews by prominent people in their respective areas. So we have some, so like someone who's a lawyer, someone who is the chairman of
Mhm.
a big company. Then we have uh, the CEO, and then we have a scientist also, Dr. Vaibhav Tiwari. We have Amog Leela Prabhu. Then so different people. We have journalist also, Mona Sheth, and then we have a doctor also, Dr. Padri Sangvi, and then we have a professor also, Dr. Saurabh Mehta.
Mhm.
And so these are just a brief reviews, detailed reviews. They are in the book, inside the book, and I think there are around 20 reviews in total.
That is
Yeah.
really.
So this is the book, the front and the back.
Yeah.
Then we have,
Did you design the cover?
it's designed by my cousin,
Okay.
Mehul Desai.
That's very, very appropriate.
Yeah. So these are the reviews. Starts with the reviews. We have
Okay.
like around 20 reviews, and then we have the
20
content
questions,
here.
20 reviews. Nice, nice. Yeah, I think it's like the design is also very thoughtfully done.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So the links are, I think you have shared the links. If people would like
I
to.
will be sharing the links to the book, how to purchase the book via Tulasi Books and also via Amazon.India. I will
Yeah.
do that maybe like shortly after we complete.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll remember to do that. I know I don't have good memory, but I will remember to do that. All right. Okay. So, one very obvious question that comes in my mind, and I'm sure many people may be thinking about it, that you've been following Bhakti Yoga for quite some time. So, what is the source of inspiration for you to actually write this book?
Yes, the source is basically, the main inspiration is to help people, to somehow, because we see that a lot of people are suffering in this world, and somehow I got the opportunity to come in contact with the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita and other scriptures, and I was very fortunate to come in contact with ISKCON, Srila Prabhupada, the founder chair of ISKCON, and because of his very simple presentation of the Bhagavad Gita and many other scriptures, things became very clear to me. So there was a desire that if I am receiving help, then obviously I should also offer help to people, and this is our greatest contribution. And so when we get connected to our teachers, then we are receiving knowledge from them, and in return we have to give some guru dakshina to them. So the best form of guru dakshina is whatever we have received, to give it to others also, so that they can also take the benefit of that.
Mhm.
And that way so eternally actually one is indebted to one's guru, and in order to kind of get rid of that death, which is also in one sense not possible, but still we try to do it. So in order to remove the death, we have to share what we have received from them, and that's how they become very happy. Because obviously, of like when we have a father and a son relationship, and the son leaves the father, and the son is wandering in the universe, in the material world. He has no connection with the father. He does not know that the father is super rich, like he's the owner of everything in this world. So he is ignorant of that fact, and when he becomes aware of that, then the child will start searching for the father. He would like to connect to the father, because the father is the supreme being in this universe. So by connecting with the father, then the son receives everything, right? So the role of a guru is to basically connect that, to find out, first of all, to find out where is the son. Okay, and then connect the son with the father. And so in that process, the guru receives a lot of mercy of the Lord. The father becomes very happy with such a person. That's why the guru is the via media between the son and the father. Those for via media between the living entities and the supreme Lord. And that's why a guru. So the Lord is most pleased when we share this knowledge with others, because he receives his lost son back, lost child back, right? So that way, it's a greatest service actually. And so, obviously there is a desire to be of some, to contribute something in this process. So this is the main inspiration of helping people. And because I have been confronted with a lot of questions like this right from the beginning of my spiritual life, because when we receive spiritual knowledge, we try to share with others. So many people, they have questions about these topics. And it's a very frequent thing that goes on, because many of them, they have the similar questions. So I just felt that, okay, it's time to address these questions in the form of book, because book is like universal. And it's also a reference point, reference guide. So people, whenever, and people, when they read it over and over again, then doubts are dissipated. So one time people may read, but they may forget, right? I mean, they may read some article, or they may hear from somewhere. But if it is in a form of book, then it is always preserved with them. So they can immediately refer to it, and they can get their answers. So that way, it's a, like if you remember in college days, we had this question banks, question and answer banks. So the like compilation of all the frequently asked questions and answers to those questions, which were assumed that they will be asked in the exams. So this is also like an exam where we have these questions which are asked forever by so many people. That's how I thought that, okay, it's best to actually have a compilation of these questions in the form of book, because book will stay forever. It will it will not just stay forever, but it will also spread like anything. A book can travel at each and every nook and corner of the world, right? Because you may give it to your friend, and the friend may travel to so many countries like Russia, China, Japan, Egypt, Korea, US, Canada, obviously. So it can travel all over the world. So this is how actually we can make a significant contribution with the help of a book.
Hmm. Yeah, I like the point that you made about um, you receiving the knowledge from your predecessors, from your preceptors, gurus, and that you were motivated by wanting to reciprocate. And the reciprocation was also not just for, not just merely trying to compensate, or like trying to just, or do something on a transactional basis, but the purpose was to assist them in helping. I really like that part very much, in helping the sons, as you mentioned, the sons, daughters, um, of God, to be connected back to their source, to their parent, a place, a safe place where they would be actually happy, eternally happy. So I like that part. Generally, we want, like, we cannot like single out people, but generally people who write books, it's usually about, okay, sharing knowledge. I wanted to share knowledge, but I like the point where you are making the full loop connection, that you are, by doing this, you are actually reciprocating with, yeah, so you're actually reciprocating with the people who shared that knowledge with you, who helped you, and you're actually helping the people. That's really, that's a tall order. So yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have a few more questions along, like it's following up on the question that I asked. And that's more like about the book itself. Like, you had the idea. So can you tell me something about the journey of this book, and you as the author of this book, from conception to publication, and your plans for distribution? Because this is very important, that the book needs to actually travel, as you said. So yeah, I would like to know, how this came about, and where are you going with it? in terms of how do you want it to reach every nook and corner?
Yeah, so it all started with the idea of helping people and addressing their questions. And basically, see, the thing is that people, I mean, in one sense, it's a very good help because people are looking for questions and they spend time. They have to search for it. They have to search for the answers. So in one way, it's a one-stop solution for everything, whatever questions they have. And obviously, if by the Lord's grace, it may be possible that we may also come with volume two sequel to this the first book, which will have more further questions. Like so it 20 obviously 28 questions are nothing. There are people who have like hundreds of questions. So if it is possible, we'll also come out with that. But so this idea was there, and I think last couple of years back, we had the trend of audio recordings and video recordings, where people used to answer many questions in the form of audio and video. And because I had no facility in terms of video, so I had recorded everything in audio. All these questions were answered in the form of audio. And but I knew that in the future I would like to turn this into the form of a book. And that's how what I did is actually I typed all the answers to these questions. And then when I made the podcast, so I was reading all the answers from the book, from the Word file. I typed it everything in the Word file. And I knew that sometime in the future I would like to come up with a book. So that's how it began. And so years later, then I think 1 or 2 years later, uh, I started to seriously carry this forward. And then I started asking my friends to start editing the Word file. And so obviously, you all have helped a lot in that, in editing and in terms of giving feedback for the answers. And then later on, it got refined. Ultimately, it came out to be in the form of a proper book. And obviously, then it underwent proofreading also, and technical feedback also was there. And then finally, I think it took like around 2 years, probably 2 years time, to come out with a proper book format. And then there was I submitted my book to the printer, and so it was designed into a layout form, and then finally it was printed. So this is how the journey was.
But I'm sure you had your own challenges. I know, like the editing was the fun part, but also it must have caused you a lot of anxiety because, like, um, there were times when we were not able to keep pace, and we were kind of maybe slowing you down. I know, for personally, I was one. I am guilty of that. But but anyways, like, what was the biggest challenge? And we're not talking about distribution part. Like, what was the biggest challenge you would say in going from the conception to the publication?
Yeah, so basically, the first thing that I forgot to mention, that this is actually self-published. It was supposed to be published by Tulsi Books, but then later on, like it was decided that it should be self-published, and the distribution
What
is
is
done by Tulsi Books.
self-published? What is self-published? Because Tulsi Books, they're still distributing it. So,
They are the distributors. So the
so
distribution and publication there is a difference in the sense that if you publish something, then the publisher will own your book. So
mhm,
you kind of like you sell off your book to them, and then they will pay you royalty.
okay,
So that's the meaning of publishing. Now, obviously, now there are different categories, and maybe there are different types of publishing rules, agreements. So we'll not go into the details of that, but yeah. So this is just like self-publication means like the book is yours even after the printing of it. It is yours.
okay.
It's going to be yours,
Mhm.
and you are the owner. You are the author. I mean, you are the owner of the book, and you can sell it the way you want to. Now, if you have a distributor who is going to market the book,
Yeah.
then you have some terms and agreements with them also. But the ownership remains with you, which is not like that with the case of publisher.
Okay. Okay.
because they do everything. They
Yeah.
will, right from the proofreading to editing, printing and marketing, they do
Marketing
everything.
also.
We
Yeah.
don't have to do much. Obviously, we use our channel and contacts also to market it, but the whatever income is there through the book, it will all go to the publisher, and then
Okay.
they will pay us royalty for that.
Okay.
So, so yeah. So now the biggest challenge you asked is basically biggest challenge. I would say that, in fact, I would say that the biggest challenge I am facing it now. It was not earlier,
Yeah.
because the biggest challenge now is there are many suggestions by people to market it, to make this book aware, to somehow reach out to many people, because 1,000 copies is nothing, when you have a crowd of 130 crore people in India. So what is the value of 1,000? It's hardly any percentage also. So basically, the idea is that this book should reach out to maximum people, and in order to do that, obviously there are so many ways, so many paths suggested by people. So the biggest challenge is how will we reach it in at least in a few years. Maybe there should be some target for it, and hopefully it can somehow by the lot. I think it will be only possible by the lot arrangement. Otherwise, personally, it's quite difficult. Being a married person, being a working person, it's not so easy for me actually. So definitely requires a lot of help and assistance and everything.
True.
So
Yeah.
hopefully, let's say, I don't know how things will go on, but yeah, we need to market it a lot. Yeah, but you see that, if you ask me about earlier challenges, then I would say that yeah, to achieve the target, and main thing is that to have patience, because this thing requires patience. We cannot make any hasty decisions for this. We have to have patience. So there are times when I was really frustrated, not because of anyone else, but because of my own efforts and everything, because I was seeing that, oh, I have to do certain things repeatedly. Some corrections were there, or something that I have to refer to repeatedly again and again. So that was very irritating and frustrating many times. But obviously, when we are doing it as a service for mankind, then we have to make sure that everything is thorough. So there were so many additions in the evolution of the book. Um, Initially, it was such a basic form of the book, but then many things evolved with time, and then finally it was. So the challenging part was basically to have patience and to also achieve the targets. So and yeah, as you were saying that, it's not that everyone is like everyone has their own way of doing things. They take their own time to do. So that is another challenge, how to deal with different types of people, and how to manage them, balance them. That itself is a challenge also. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not just so yeah, it's not just about putting the content together and or even writing those sentences that will make the book, but it's also a lot of people management. I think that is involved, and
Yeah.
logistics,
Like
and
logistics.
yeah. So
Actually, yeah.
I
In
think you
fact,
can even be an you can also, like, maybe teach about how to write books, and not maybe how to write, but how to take a book from ideation to uh, like manifestation. You probably are very familiar now with that as well.
yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that.
and in fact, writing was not at all so difficult,
Mm,
because as a author, I just have to express my thoughts in the file, in the Word file, and then we have the editors who are going to do the job. So
yeah,
we just have to accept and we just have to reject it. So that
yeah.
was not such a big thing, but yeah, to keep pace with others, like to also like maintain our relationship with them, to also kind of give them encouragement so that they can continue ahead.
Mm.
That's a challenge. um, yeah. But yeah, when it is, at the stage of proofreading, the book had gone many repetitions. Like I had to read many times
Hmm.
at the stage of proofreading. So not just the editing part, but then the end of the final part, proofreading. I felt that okay, because of inexperience, this thing, I was like under the assumption that proofreading will hardly take probably 1 week or 2 weeks or something, but it took like 2 months or something.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
So
have to
it
be
had
very,
got a
very
lot of
careful.
yeah, lot of detail corrections in the proofreading,
Mhm.
as well as some certain missing things were also there. So basically, you have to also see the format, the layout, and everything, not just the content, but so many things have to be really be scrutinized in that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So every book has a target audience. And you mentioned in the beginning that the purpose was to help people. Now, uh, even though we may see that there are, things or that could be useful to people in general, yet there is always going to be like a, like a targeted group of people who will really want to take benefit from it, or who would see it as valuable. So in your book, this book, if I were to ask you, like, who is the right reader, or who's this book for? Yeah, it's probably for everyone, but still, like, who would actually, benefit from this book? What would you say about that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
as I said, that those who like to know about Hinduism, those who are having a lot of questions about Hinduism, so it's a book meant for them. And so I would not say only spiritualist, but even for those who may not want to practice spirituality, but just they would like to know out of eagerness what is Hinduism, what is what are the scriptures saying, talking about, and all that. So for them also, this book can be catered to.
oh, okay, okay. Hmm. Okay, yeah. So, uh, like, as a follow-up question, now, the book is in the form of questions and answers. um, Generally, when there are, like, frequently asked questions for any kind of, like a product, or about how to use a website, people would just, like, go and try to look for the question that they have. So what is the right way? Okay, we don't want to, like, like, enforce that on the readers, but what would be a good way of reading this book?
Yeah, so this I felt that this is a very important question to be addressed. That's why I
Yeah.
have added a separate section in the book, which is called
Mhm.
as the introduction. Now there is a preface to the book, and then there is also introduction. So one may wonder that why there are two types of introductions. In one sense, preface is also an introduction, but then we have to understand that preface is basically about the purpose of the book, the motive behind writing the book, and introduction is basically the introduction to the book, that what in what particular format you want the readers to read the book, in what particular way, or what is inside the content, what things are there inside the content of the book. So it's basic introduction is related to the book, and preface is basically more connected with the purpose and intention behind the book, why the book is written, like that. So in the introduction, very clearly I have mentioned that the it will be best for the reader to, if they have a matured spiritual understanding, at least some basic knowledge they have about spirituality, then it will be best for them to first go through the introduction, go through the conceptual principles, which is given at the end of the content. It's a section which is at the end of the book. Now why now so it seems a bit of paradox when I say that they should start with conceptual principles, but it is given at the end.
Yeah.
The reason that it is at the end is because it is bit technical, it is a little bit filled with philosophical truths, and it is heavy, some bit heavy. If people are not aware of certain principles, then if they read those, then they will not be able to understand much about it. That's why we start with some general doubts that people have, so that gradually when they start reading the book, at least they get answers to many general questions, And then finally, when they start reading other questions and sections, go through the other sections, then they will start getting some idea about the absolute truth. So, and then obviously in between they could also keep referring to the conceptual principles. But I have mentioned that the conceptual principles, they pervade the entire book, basically because the answers that are given in the book, the foundation of that answer is in the conceptual principle. So there is, it's establishing a certain kind of fact, and based on that fact, the answers are given.
Yeah.
So that's how. And then I've also mentioned that it's not necessarily people, they have to follow a particular sequence of question answer. They can select any question they would like to. They can jump to any question they like to. But it's always recommended. It's best recommended that we first understand the concepts, and then we start with the questions which are lighter, and then which are heavier at the end, like that. So based on that, the categories is actually, it is, I have displayed the category according to that logic.
Okay. Yeah. So since I can ask this question because like I have an understanding of what is in the book and what kind of references you have used. So you've obviously been practicing bhakti yoga for a long time, and the references that have been made are generally to the scriptures that have been explained, or that have been the purpose to which have been given from a bhakti centric point of view, devotion point of view. But
Okay.
we know that there are other schools of philosophy as well. There is the Advaitic philosophy. There are other philosophies like from the Voidist philosophy, or like the Buddhist philosophy. So how do we know? So you mentioned something like at the end there are philosophical truths, and the answers obviously you are whatever you have included, whatever you have written, um, you are actually propounding that's based on the absolute truth. How do people from who are coming from other backgrounds, or who are more like who are very kind of inclusive to all kind of philosophies, how do they understand that? How can they be convinced that really this is the absolute truth, like the summum bonum?
Okay. Yeah, this is a very important question. And so basically what you're asking is that how do we know that your questions are the answers, they are revealing the
Yeah.
ultimate truth,
Yes.
or maybe they are the best answers, like
Yeah.
compared to
Yes.
any other philosophy. Yeah, so this is actually something which is connected to the philosophical truths. So how do we establish a particular philosophical truth? And that obviously requires strong foundation in the scriptures. So see, the thing is that people may say that, okay, we, after reading the book, we may agree in certain sections and we may disagree in certain sections. They may say like that. And
Yeah.
right. So then, see, it's not a question of agreeing or disagreeing. Our agreeing or disagreeing, it's not going to have any value. Why? Because we are all controlled ultimately. Okay. So even if we like certain sections, if we accept certain sections, if we are convinced about certain sections, but if we do not like other sections, or if we are not convinced about other sections, we have to, ultimately, we have to realize that we have to accept the truth. And the way the truth is established, it cannot be multiple, there cannot be multiple truths. Okay. There is only one truth, because it can be, so that truth can be catered in different forms, in different ways, to different people according to time place circumstance. But when uh, when you become matured in a spiritual understanding, then you can realize that there is only one ultimate truth. There is only one path. There are, although that one path can be manifested in different forms, but ultimately it has to reach one path ultimately. Okay. So now, yeah, so this particular, so whatever if a person agrees or disagrees, they have to prove it. They have to back it up by scriptures. Okay, because might agreeing or disagreeing, it is not going to change the decision of the Supreme Lord. If there are certain things in the scriptures, certain laws in the scriptures, whether I accept or not, the laws are not going to be changed for me. Okay, so just like for example, if you do not believe in the principle of gravity, okay, and if you try to jump from a building, it's not that okay whether I agree or disagree. It's a proven fact. It's a fact that person who is going to jump, they may kill themselves. Okay, if you break the signal, there's a red light, and if you break the signal, and you may think that okay I agree or disagree. I feel that the red signal should not be there because it's night time, no one is there around, so why that red signal should be there? So I will just go and break it. But then unfortunately you see that there is a police wala, there is a you know traffic policeman, and he will, if he sees you, then he will catch you and he will fine you also for that. So you cannot tell him that okay sir, you should understand that based on circumstances it is acceptable, in the night time it's okay, and this and that. So whether it is night time, daytime, whichever time it is, if the police wala will catch you and if he has the intention of finding you, then he will do it somehow, right? So he requires some kind of evidence that the law has been broken, right? So similarly, in the material world also, we are breaking certain laws, okay, by mistake, by ignorance, or by purpose. We are breaking the laws of the Lord, and then we are getting punished because of that. So we accept it or not, but the fact is that suffering always is there along with the distress part is always there along with the happiness part. Okay, it cannot be separated. It's not either of them. Both will come. Happiness and distress both will come. That's the nature of the material world. So our agreement or disagreement with certain things, with scriptures, it does not allow us to change the will of the Lord, right? So now, okay, so I hear something from the scripture, maybe I'm not convinced with that, but because it is there in the scripture, I have to accept it because that is the ultimate truth. It is decided by the Supreme Lord and it is conveyed by the Supreme Lord through the form of scripture. It is the will of the Lord. So if it is the will of the Lord, who is the supreme controller, if we are the controllers, we can say that okay, I agree, I disagree, and this should be changed. But because we cannot change it, and because we are not the controllers, so we have to, although we are not convinced, that's our individuality. I agree, disagree, that's my free will. And according to the way I respond and react, that is up to me. But then whether the reaction for that is up to me, obviously obviously the reaction is not in our control. The reaction is given by someone else. So that's why agreement and disagreement does not minimize the importance of the scriptures. So we have to see in that light also. So whether we accept a philosophy or whether we reject a philosophy, we have to see in a holistic way. So the scriptures, they have to be looked in a holistic way. Now, if someone is not presenting in a holistic way, they are just taking some portion of the scriptures and they are presenting it. It does not, what exactly they are doing is they are limiting the will of the Lord, or they are limiting the Lord himself. Like for example, the Advaitwadis, they will say that the Lord is the absolute form of the Lord. The absolute truth is basically impersonal. Okay. Now, is that the reality? If what are you doing? You are basically imposing impersonality on the Supreme Lord. So what you are doing is you are limiting and restricting the Lord's feature. Now, how can you do that when the Lord himself says that he is manifesting in both forms, personal as well as impersonal, and everything is actually expansion of the Supreme Lord in this world also. It is just that the energy of the Lord is transformed, but he is not affected by that. He is beyond all these transformations. So the Upanishads, the Puranas, we have to see all of them in the same light. We have to see a holistic. We have to take a holistic approach when we are reading the scriptures. We cannot just take what we like and reject what we don't like. So like, there are certain in the Advaitwad philosophy also, what we hear is that Shankaracharya promoted the aphorisms of the Vedanta Sutra, as well as he had given a lot of preference and priority to the Shrutis. And he actually called some of the Shruti, the Upanishad statement, as Mahavakyas, just because it was in line with his thought of philosophy. But there is no statement in the entire scripture which says that these are the Mahavakyas and others are less important. In fact, in my particular question and answer in the conceptual principles, so there are two particular questions. One is that which is more important scripture, the Shruti or the Smriti? Okay, people generally regard the Shruti as more important than the Smriti. But then I have clearly established using the teachings of our previous Acharya that how Smriti is equally important to the Shruti. They are non-different actually. They are Vedic in nature. So people may think that, okay, Smriti means that which is remembered, and it is, they minimize the value of that and they give more importance to the Shrutis because Shruti is directly heard from the Supreme Lord. So they minimize the value. But then there are statements in the Shrutis itself that they are saying the entire scripture, all the scriptures, the Purana, the Itihasa, the Mahabharata, they all emanate from the breath of the Supreme Lord. So when you have something is coming from the breath of the Supreme Lord, it is all same in the nature. The reason they are discriminated is they have a particular purpose, which I have also mentioned in the book. So now, why then certain individuals, they give more preference and priority to certain statements of the Upanishads or the Shrutis? That is not justified. The Vaishnavas can turn it around and say that the Puranas are more important than the Shrutis. But Vaishnavas do not do that because they know that. So see, now again, even among Shruti also, there are many statements in the Upanishad which actually reveal the personal aspect of the Supreme Lord. Like this Gopal Tapani Upanishad, Narayan Upanishad, then Shvetavastra Upanishad, Mundaka Upanishad, and Chaitanya Upanishad. So many Upanishads are there which actually reveal the personal aspect of the Supreme Lord. So why are you neglecting and rejecting those statements? Then you are not taking a holistic picture of the entire scripture. So what the Vaishnavas are doing, we are not rejecting anything. And in fact, this is an injunction by Srila Vyasadeva. He very clearly mentions this point in his Vedanta Sutra. He says that whenever there is a conflicting statement, we need to reconcile that. So when you see that there is one scriptural injunction, it is contradicted by another scriptural injunction, then you are not supposed to reject any one of them. You are supposed to reconcile them. So you need to, one statement, another statement, you have to interpret that. So in order to align them, in order to reconcile them, right? So this is what is meant by honoring, respecting all the scriptures and understanding the fact that they are all equally important. It's just a matter of how we actually reconcile these statements. Okay. Now, one particular example I would like to quote from the Mahabharata. So there's an incident where Ashwatthama is actually captured by Arjuna, and he's kind of like, there is a like Draupadi and the Pandavas along with Krishna, they are all assembled there, and Ashwatthama is like he's lying down there. So Draupadi is giving her opinion, and she's saying that, well, because as a woman, she is very compassionate also, and so she's thinking that he should not be killed because he is the son of Kripacharya, and I have undergone the pain of seeing my own children being killed. Well, I can understand what is the pain, and I don't want to give the same pain to my what we say, Guru Mata.
Guru's wife, yeah, our Guru's wife.
Guru Mata, right?
Guru Mata.
So I don't want her to experience the same kind of pain. So I feel that he should not be killed, although he has been captured, but he should be left. Then Yudhishthir also had the same kind of thought. Yudhishthir, Nakul, Sahadev, they had similar thoughts. But Arjuna was confused. He could not understand what to do. And Bhim was actually, because he's more inclined in the Kshatriya spirit. So he was very clear that no, he should be killed. He should not be left alone. And then Arjun looked at Krishna and he was asking Krishna what to do. So Krishna gave him a wonderful answer. He said that you kill him and you do not kill him. Okay. So now see, this is a wonderful way of reconciling things. So you act in such a way that you kill him, but you do not kill him also at the same time. So what he did, he actually cut off the hair of Ashwatthama. He disfigured his face, like hair and face and all that, cutting his mustache and hair and beard and all that. And somehow, um, because of that, now for a Kshatriya, it is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says that for a Kshatriya, it is uh, dishonor is worse than death. So when you dishonor a person, it is like killing him. And at the same time, it is not killing also. So see, it requires maturity and proper blessings of the Lord to reveal such things to us. That's why the Shvetavastra Upanishad and the Mundak Upanishad, they say that Yasya Deve Parabhakti Yatha Deve Tatha Guru Tasyate Kathiyate Artha Prakashante Mahatmana. So it says that unless and until you have implicit faith in the Lord and the spiritual master simultaneously, the purpose of the Vedas are not revealed to you. So only when you have implicit faith in Lord and the Guru, then only the injunction, the conclusion of the scriptures is revealed to you. The purport, the meaning of the scripture will be revealed to you. So so scripture by itself, reading by itself, one cannot learn by itself. And another interesting point is, another very important point is, one may say that, okay, I agree or disagree. But the question is that even if you, let's say, if you agree or disagree, what is the, are you really 100% sure that your agreement and disagreement is the right way? What is the proof for that? How does one know that? Right? So, there may be a Sanskrit scholar and he is able to read and interpret Sanskrit language. And he may be able to understand in his own way. But then his own way may contradict many other philosophies, or maybe it can align with one and it may contradict another. So now, ultimately, his own understanding also has to be proved that this is the right way of understanding. And in order to do that, obviously, what we do is we go with the majority. If majority, I mean, in the material world, generally we go with the majority. If majority accepting that, then okay, maybe this is the right way, right? We at least have that kind of thinking that at least if majority is following something, then we can say that, okay, this person, whatever is thinking, it may be the right way. But if there is no majority, okay, and no one agrees with that, then one can say that your agreement, disagreement has no value because no one agrees with you. So how do we know that our particular realization or understanding about a particular shloka is the right way? So that's why the parampara system is very important. Ultimately, you have to align with yourself with the parampara, and that parampara can obviously be, we have the 6 systems of philosophy. In the Astic philosophy, we have 6 systems, and then there are Gnostic philosophies like Jainism, Buddhism, like that. So the Astic philosophy, they accept the Vedas, they accept the scriptures. And so when in the scripture, it is clearly mentioned that, like in the Puranas, it is mentioned that Sampradaya Vina Ye Mantra Nishphalat Mata, that without coming in contact with the Guru in a particular Sampradaya, the mantra that the Guru bestows on the disciple, the Diksha mantra, is fruitless. It will not have any meaning unless you are connected to the Guru in a particular Sampradaya. Okay. So the value of your realization, the value of an agreement or disagreement is zero, because okay, it's you, it's about you, you agreed, it's your choice. So that's why I said that, see, there has to be certain there has to be a particular authority or a proof that whatever is my thinking is the right way. And that proof or authority can also be established based on the fact that whether you are receiving a reaction for it or not. So as I said that, dharma and adharma, they are classified based on whether you receive good and bad reaction. So obviously, if you are following dharma, it means you are receiving a good reaction. And if you are receiving bad reaction, it means you are following a dharma. So, so people may flaunt different philosophies, but we have to check whether it is holistic or not, whether it is restricting the mercy of the Lord or not. Now, all these philosophies that you have, mentioned, like for example, Buddhism, then Jainism, or Advaitism. So now even amongst Vaishnava philosophies, there are different details amongst the four Vaishnava Sampradaya philosophies. Okay, and I would say that these four Vaishnava philosophies, they are contradicting the scripture to some extent. They are not revealing the highest manifestation of the absolute truth. There is some lacking, and that's why when we consider the line of Sampradaya of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and he is giving us the philosophy of Achinta Bheda Bhed Tattva, that means simultaneously one and different. So when you go scan through the entire scripture, you will see that this philosophy is completely applicable to each and every particular shloka of the scriptures. It does not contradict any of them because simultaneously one and different. Yeah, there is a Supreme Lord, he has a personality. At the same time, he also has his Brahman effulgence.
Yeah.
Advaitwad says that, oh, only Brahman effulgence, no reality beyond that. Okay, everything is material. Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithyam. But then our Vaishnava philosophy says that Brahman Satyam, that is true, but Jagat is not Mithyam, because Jagat, through that Jagat, you are going to experience the Lord. You are going to channelize that Jagat with the Lord. So that is reality, but it is temporary. So all these things, all these concepts, if you go through the philosophy of Achinta Bheda Bhed Tattva, these things are all reconciled very nicely. It's a holistic approach to the philosophies. Whichever particular statement you take from any Shastra, you can say that, yeah, this is something that, yeah, like for example, we are God, Tattvam Asi. So yeah, you are that means you are God. Yeah, we are God. But then it also mentions Nitya Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Ekabhavanam Yo Vidati Kamam. And then Krishna also mentions in the Bhagavad Gita, Mamai Vamsha Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. The Jivas, they are eternally fragmental part and parcels of me. So they are infinitely smaller particles, fragmental parts and parcels of the Supreme Lord, but they are also me. So Tattvamasi, you are that, yeah, that is true, you are God, but in minute capacity.
Capacity, yeah.
Right? So each and every statement you pick out from anywhere, from the scripture, it will fit into this Achinta Bheda Bhed Tattva. Now, other philosophies of the four Vaishnava Sampradaya, like Shuddha Advaitvad, then we have Vishishta Advaitvad, and then we have Dvaitavad, and then we have the philosophy of Shankaracharya, which is, and then we have Nimbarka philosophy, which is Swabhaviki Bheda Bhed Tattva. Okay, Bhed Abhed Tattva. So these are the four Vaishnava Sampradayas. Now, even Shuddha Advaita and Vishishta Advaita, they do not give complete information about the absolute truth. There is some missing point. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy is reconciling all these other. That's why it is said that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu took two essential siddhants from all these four Vaishnava Sampradayas. And then he gave the Achinta Bheda Bhed Tattva philosophy. So what other people are doing is, other philosophical systems, what they are doing, let's say, you have a pendulum, and pendulum is at the center. So other people, they are like, if it is in the center, it is balanced, right? But if you take it on the extreme right, and if you take it on the extreme left, then obviously the pendulum is going to come down to its original position because of gravity, obviously. So Advaitavad is one extreme, Dvaitavad is another extreme, and then in between we have the Shuddha Advaita and the Vishishta Advaita, and then finally Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's philosophy at the middle center, balanced approach. So all these are like reconciled properly in the philosophy of Achinta Bheda Bhed Tattva. So we cannot neglect and reject other statements of the scripture. That is what we have to understand. Even when suddenly my internet connection got disconnected, and so yeah, we are on Facebook Live.
Okay, yeah, so we lost you because of maybe internet connectivity issues. Yeah, so we can, I guess, one last question I had for today was,
yeah,
you
but I think
about, yeah, go ahead.
Let's finish off where we left off.
Mhm.
What I was saying is about there has to be a holistic approach, and the philosophy Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is giving the Achinta Bhedabhed Tattva, which is answering every particular question and in a complete holistic manner. So without contradicting the shastras, so we can select any statement from any scripture, and still it will be in aligned. It will be aligned with the scripture. I mean, it does not contradict the scripture. That is the beauty of Achinta Bheda Tattva. So from that approach, we have to consider everything. Otherwise, different philosophies, they are giving only some part of the scripture. They are presenting only some part of the scripture, depending on their particular requirements, depending on their particular thoughts of philosophy. It is rejecting most of the other parts of the scripture. So we and then obviously you see the most important logic that we can easily understand, which is also that I've described in my book, in the question of whether the absolute truth is personal or impersonal, is the logic that obviously Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared at the end. All other acharyas, they have appeared before him, and the appearance of each and every other acharya after particular acharya has only refined the philosophy, and they have revealed the maximum details about the absolute truth. So Shankaracharya came, and then later on the four Vaishnava acharyas came, and obviously before Shankaracharya we have Buddha. Now Bhagavatam says that Buddha was actually the avatar of Krishna, right? So now, but Buddhists probably they do not accept this because their philosophy is different philosophy, voidism. So obviously there is no God only. So how they will accept that Buddha is actually incarnation of Krishna? But Bhagavatam philosophy is very clear. Beginning, there is no. It is eternal. Okay, it has been revealed to Brahma. Krishna revealed this to Brahma. Vishnu revealed to Brahma before the time of creation. So Brahma is the one who actually started the creation, and before that, so there is no beginning, and then there are this creation, destruction. It's an eternal cycle. So you cannot say which particular point of time this knowledge was revealed to Brahma. It's anadi. There is no particular time you can measure. Okay, so in that sense, it is eternal knowledge. Whereas if you see the knowledge of Buddha, it appears in Kali Yuga. You see the Shankaracharya appeared in Kali Yuga. But this entire Vedic culture, philosophy, holistic concept was present right from the beginning. So we have to, and so you see the succession from Buddha, Shankaracharya, and then four Vaishnavas and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now, if the absolute truth were to be impersonal or were to be void, then this sequence would have been reversed because the ultimate is given at the end. Right? Why do you need to refine it again and again? So, I mean, these are some logical things that we can easily understand. Which particular scripture. So there are all the statements of the scriptures you take into consideration. Mahabharata, Ityas, Puranas, Shrutis, Upanishad, statement of the Upanishad, the Vedanta Sutra, and then you bring all together. Then what is the, and similarly, the same way. Now people, they ask about why Krishna is the supreme. Well, read all the scriptures and reconcile all these concepts. Now, in fact, it's people don't even know that most of the demigods are actually living entities. They are jivas like us. We can also become demigods. So in the Bhagavatam, very clear. So one mantra is living for a period of 71 Divya Yugas. One Divya Yuga is you add all the four yugas, that is one Divya Yuga. And then 71 Divya Yugas, that's the period of Manu, one Manvantar. And that is the period of these demigods. So so there are 14 Manvantars in one day of Brahma. So one particular demigod is only living the lifespan of a Manvantar. And there are 14 Manvantars. So like there are 14 Jivas who are actually taking the role of Indra in one day of Brahma. So when they are Jivas, that means that they are not Supreme Lord. Now, when it comes to Shiv Tattva and then Lord Shiva and Brahma is obviously a Jiv Tattva. It is Bhagavatam, it is mentioned clearly that you perform 100 lifetimes of pious activities, you take the post of Brahma. So it's a position, it's a post. It is not the living entity. All these are designations, they are all posts. You occupy the post when you are qualified, and then you take some other body in the next life, depending on the karma. And then, so obviously, now the main question is between Krishna and Shiva. So now collect all these statements from the Shastra and see who is supreme. So all these knowledge is revealed in the book while answering the question, who is the supreme, like that. So it's a holistic approach. That's what we have to understand, and that's why whatever answers we have given, it is complete and it is authoritative. It is the ultimate. So if there are any other answers superior to this, we have to prove it. We have to refute whatever answers that we have provided. They have to refute that, and with sound logic and scripture. So we have to prove that it is not just matter of disagreement or agreement. It's a matter of facts. So you are muted. Okay. Yeah. So does it make sense?
Yeah, sure. Okay, yeah. So I think now, we have talked a lot about the pie. People now probably need to dig into the pie to actually see how it tastes. So I will definitely want to um, share my screen, and I think you can do that as well. Just show glimpses of how to make the purchase to the book. I will also share that on Facebook. So let me show this. So this is the website of Tulsi Books. They are the ones who are distributing. Am I correct to say distributing?
Yeah.
They are distributing Pratik's book, 20 plus must-know facts about Hinduism. It is 200 rupees, Indian rupees. We're not talking about any other currency, Indian rupees. And it has a summary of what the book entails, what kind of questions have been asked, the reviews, and there are some like really luminary people who have reviewed the book, as we discussed before. And this is about the author. So we would very much request people to, whoever is watching this, to go into this website and order a copy for themselves, read through this, and then order a copy, and I'm sure it would be very, very enlightening. The same book is also available on the Amazon India website as well. 20 plus must-know facts about Hinduism. So you can order from there as well. But doing so from Tulsi Books is going to be really helpful, because Tulsi Books are associated with with the same cause that the cause which Pratik is supporting. So it would be definitely good to order via Tulsi Books. You see that price is really not different there. So yeah, it would be really nice if you could order it from Tulsi Books. I will also share the website, the links in under the Facebook podcast, the video podcast, so it's easily accessible. So yeah, so I think that's all I wanted to share about the means to purchase the book. And I guess if anyone has any other questions, they can feel free to ask.
Yes, Ruji, I have a question. If we order through Tulsi Books, they are giving delivery within that same price, or they charge additional for courier? Any idea?
Question for Pratik.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this is Tulsi Books and Amazon, the same thing. Courier will be extra.
Okay.
The
And
price is the
anywhere
same,
in
but
India.
delivery price charges will
Yeah,
is also the same, right? Okay.
I mean,
Yeah. So
it should be the same because
Just a little bit.
What Amazon is doing is Amazon will be asking Tulsi Book to ship it. So Tulsi Books will have connection with the courier companies. And so I believe that it will be the same charge, courier charge for Amazon as well as Tulsi Books.
okay, okay. And it's delivery all over India, that means, right?
Delivery all over. Yeah, yeah, it is. It is. It is. It is. Yeah.
Right,
He
right.
closed. So
Okay.
yeah, I replied
Okay.
in
Thank you.
in place of him. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So
Thank you.
yeah, I think for this session, we
One, I
covered a
think
lot of ground.
you had one more question. You're supposed to ask me like.
I think you already covered that about like the references.
Okay.
Yeah. So how do we refer to the references you provided? So you did
Yeah,
cover.
I would like to add some more details to it. It requires some proper understanding also. So yeah, you did mention about the references provided, but now again, people can ask the question that okay, how are we supposed to refer to the references? Because what I've done is I've just quoted the sloka from the particular scripture, the slok numbers from the particular scripture. So what you can do, and I've again mentioned this in the introduction because it's a very important thing. So you can just type the slok of the particular scripture in Google, and you will get the original verse. And I've also mentioned it very clearly that my reference point is the translations of the slokas by Bhaktivedanta Purports by Srila Prabhupada ji, the founder of ISKCON. And I've also explained that in the introduction that why I've chosen his translations because of obviously authenticity and because we are also connected to a bona fide legitimate parampara.
Yeah.
So outside of that, if I do try to use the translation of any other person, then again the same question is that why are we using those translations? So it can be argued like that, but
Yes.
there are many reasons why I've used the translation of Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, and there are certain slokas which do not have because this is how it is actually available online or available in the books of our acharyas. And there are certain slokas only with the name of the scripture, but the sloka number is sometimes it is missing. But the acharyas are using these scriptures a lot. So basically, the point is that we can always argue if someone else is using a particular sloka and trying to contradict the conclusion of the the Vedic conclusion, then we can also argue with them. How can you use this translation? What is the source of that translation? So that is always there. That's why we have to have this kind of parampara where there are bona fide pure devotees of the Lord, and they will present the facts as they are. Again, interpretation is a different thing, but the way they interpret has to be aligned with the scriptures, a holistic view of the scriptures, not just one-sided view of the scripture. So because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given that holistic approach, Srila Prabhupada is actually the commander-in-chief of that army of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. And that's why you'll see that Srila Prabhupada, another thing that Prabhupada has done is that he has given the culmination, the teachings, the essence of all the four Vaishnava Sampradaya Acharyas, not just the line of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but he has also provided the teachings of our exalted other Vaishnava Acharyas in other Sampradayas. So that's a very holistic approach. Yeah, so they are there in the Bhaktivedanta book, the BBT books, which are available online. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I somehow my video got turned off. All right. Okay. Um,
So if Rajiv ji has any question, we can take it and
yeah.
we can.
Prabhuji, I don't have a question as such, except that I'm very happy that when we used to attend your class and then you had mentioned your desire to make a book out of it. So seeing this process unfold and this entire book from that concept to actually happening, that is, I think that's a very wonderful thing for me to see it happen, all the way. That gives me a lot of pleasure and satisfaction. So certainly, I'm quite grateful to you to have allowed me to be a part of this. No doubt about it. It's not something you can. Um, that feeling is full. Just like they say, Lord Krishna, He's the source of everything. He gives everything, yet He feels always full. He's always full. Similarly, here the satisfaction is full. I think. But, for others, they may say, "Oh, it's just a book you have done. What's the big thing?" But I know how I feel. It's a feeling of full. The bliss is full here. It's a small effort, but it's something great that happened. So for me to see it happen personally, I have heard people do this, you know, but to see it happen and be a part of it, that's the most wonderful thing. So thank you for letting me also be a minuscule part of the journey. However, but it's a very nice experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rajiv ji, for your heartfelt and very emotional and I think full of um, generosity. You know, the words
No,
that you spoke.
there
Yeah,
is
yeah.
no
Like,
generosity, Prabhuji. Not at all. Not at
so you have been a part of this and a very important part of it. Significant contribution has been done by you, right from editing, proofreading, printing, everything. Somehow, like I'm, because you mentioned it, I'm just trying to. I just realized the mercy of the Lord that how, like, we got in touch with each other, and then you had an entire team of uh, people who will be able to take this into realized form, because you had contact with an editor, you had contact with the printer, you yourself were an editor, and you had other, like your own daughter also, she also had contributed to this thing. So I'm just wondering that yeah, I mean, being a book distributor, maybe the Lord put me in contact with a team of printers. Like,
all. Yeah, that just to make us realize that we insignificant people, beings, can do something for something significant that's about to happen. We can play a part. Just, like that squirrel, even that squirrel played a part in that Ram Setu. And Lord Ram said, "No, yeah, you're doing a wonderful service." So हम लोग को भी ऐसा कुछ मिल गया का.
yeah, yeah, but all of you are Hanuman and I am that squirrel.
अरे रे, no, no.
You mean Hanuman or monkeys? Just
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, we are monkeys. The
me.
Vanar Sena.
Yeah. So if you remember, I very interesting, when we were in Vrindavan and some monkey was there. So that monkey was like, I think Aritra got afraid or something. And then I just joked that don't worry, for Aritra, Hanuman has to come personally. So
I didn't get personally attacked by any monkey, but I remember I was very amazed by the uh, lightning speed of the monkeys. Like,
ah,
remember, Raji? Yeah, okay. I think we can maybe like disconnect from here, like
yeah,
uh,
yeah.
from Facebook Live, so we can.
So all right, yeah, yeah. Thank you so much, Aritra, for hosting this, for your um, unflinching commitment to host the shows, for conducting these sessions, and your time, your commitment, all the efforts that you have not just for the book, but also for the shows and for the classes that we are doing. So
No,
all of you
I'm
are
not
doing wonderful.
really deserving that, because I often don't end up staying the entire time. So, but anyways, like, yeah, we, you are our friend, okay? Like, you are our friend and guide. So thank you for that. And let's first, stop the streaming. We can talk after that.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm very grateful to all of you. It's everything is because of you all. So thank you so much.
That doesn't sound normal to me. That doesn't sound right to me.
This is not normal. This is
Something wrong today.
Yeah, I think
like to take credit for
streaming
everything,
is.
but here we want to give credit to others. So whatever is happening is all because of your efforts, your help, your affection, your good wishes, everything. So thank you so much for that.
Hari Bol,
Okay.
Hare Krishna.